Uncut. All right, so we're welcome to episode 2.
Yeah, episode 2.
So recap of what we said last.
Let's not recap. We should go and get the message.
Sorry. Now, wow.
It's
We
true now.
defined a good relationship. We
Yeah.
introduced ourselves, defined a good relationship,
Okay.
and talked a bit about Twitter, Buhaha.
Okay. So define the good relationship a bit. Now, we want to find out is there a formula?
Yes, because that's
So
the whole topic
is
that
there
we're
a formula?
talking
Yeah.
about.
So, do you think there's a formula, first of all?
Do I think there's a formula? Well, formula being synonymous with
set
a
of-
method,
Yes, a
there are
method,
ways, are there things you would do?
Yes.
And things like that. Now thinking scientifically, right? Formulas are designed to always give you a certain expected result. If you are using almighty formula, for example, and you put two numbers, you're not going to put those two numbers as A and B today and it will give you one value, and put it tomorrow and it will give you another value, right? If I remember almighty formula, the answer was always plus and minus, like whatever. But you always get the same thing. That's how formulas work. That's how algorithms work, right? That's how methods work. You can predict the outcome based on what that formula is. So with that definition of a formula, do I think there's a formula? I think so, but I don't think it's overly complicated, but at the same time, I also don't think it's so simple as far as 1 + 1 = 2 kind of formula. Because I know of the constant moving parts that two human beings are, that the entire world is. So I want to say yes, but I already put the first but, with the caveat that if you put it in light of this world, if you put it in light of the fact that it's two human beings, there's constantly moving parts in this world, things will happen. So I think part of the formula is to even give allowance for when things happen. Let me just answer the question. Do I think there's formula? Yes. I think there are things you can do. But let me put it this way.
Increase your chances.
Thank you, yes. Actually, that's what I want to say. I think there are things you can do that can give you a wide range of, how do you usually say it, of a bandwidth by which your results should fall. It shouldn't go below this. It might not go higher than this.
Yeah.
So yeah, let me put it that way.
So it kind of mitigates your risks and gives you much better chances. So you believe there is a formula that can give you much better chances?
Yes.
I think, you always say pastor should not talk too much.
You like to talk absolute.
But I think there is a formula.
Okay.
Based on the definition of a good marriage that we said, right? Don't forget the good definition of good marriage that we said. We said a couple of things. We said one that makes you to be fulfilled, helps you to fulfill God's purpose for your life. One that helps you become a better person. One that gives you peace of mind. One that gives you a reasonable amount of happiness and a lot of good times. One where you have a sufficient good amount of sex and all those kinds of things, right? Thinking of it like that, yes, I have a formula that can get you all that. I do have a formula. Do you want to hear it?
Come and use my caveats. Add my caveats. It's going to give you a range
Don't
of.
worry, the listeners will choose.
Okay. Oh yeah, now.
Which one we will go with?
Oh yeah.
Me, I have a formula. You all will give them good chances.
Exactly.
Okay, so what's your formula?
What's my formula? And let me just say that whatever it is that I say is most likely going to sound similar to what you say, because like I said, we've had these discussions over time. So I might steal some of the things that I've heard you say before. I know you definitely will steal many of these. That's the wisdom that's come out from this fountain of glory.
I steal your thoughts a lot.
Do you understand?
People will be retweeting me. They will not know that it's my wife I'm plagiarizing.
That's what marriage is. Men just. Let me take it back. Anyway, yes. So.
What's your formula?
What's my formula? I think the first thing I'll start with is the type of person. No, not type. Sorry, the person, the values of the person. what the person, the makeup of the person, the type, values, makeup, the type of person the person is. The way I put it is, I think if two good people come together, right, that first and foremost increases their chances. It's a good person, it's another good person.
Okay.
So let me first start from there. And by good people, I don't mean not just good intentions, because people have good intentions, but so good people, not perfect people, because I'm still a work in progress. You're still a we're all still works in progress. But good people who have some certain values, right, settled. Example of some of the values that I think are good to have settled already in your mind, principles, is you know you want to be a trustworthy person. Mm-hmm. You want to be a faithful person. You want to be a loving person, right? You want to be someone who gives the other person benefit of the doubt, right? You want to be a kind-hearted person, right? You want to be someone who is definitely not prone to violence. Right? Those are good people I'm talking about. And when you think of these definitions, don't think of it as, okay, the guy should be like that or the lady should be like that. Think of the guy should be like that and the lady should be like that. So when you have a trustworthy person meeting a trustworthy person, a faithful person meeting a faithful person, a loyal person meeting a loyal person, someone who is not prone to violence meeting someone who is not prone to violence, someone who is kind-hearted meeting someone who is kind-hearted. That's the first thing that I'll say increases your chances. Okay? And the reason why that's even basic is the next thing that I want to say is now the situation you find yourself in.
So can we call it great marriage instead of excellent or good or perfect?
Yeah, excellent still feels synonymous to perfect to me. So great, right?
Great marriage. Okay. So great marriage.
The second thing I'll say is the situation. Situation being, you might be a great 14-year-old and I might be a great 24-year-old. Hell no. Like, no. Right? So too young, right? So there's that situation. You can be a great person that is living in Antarctica, wants to continue living in Antarctica, plans to spend the rest of their life living in Antarctica. And I might be a great person that's Niger for life. Do you understand? So the particular situation, in the sense that
situations have to align.
Yes, the situations have to align.
I'm not going to change my formula because of you, because you're giving me good ideas. Don't worry, I'll keep my own. Don't worry, the listeners will combine this.
Yeah, now. Then and the reason why and the thing with situations is that situations change.
Yeah.
You know, now I said a 14 person and a 24-year-old person. Hell no. But the gap between two of them is 10 years. But then I will now say someone who is 35 and the other person is 45. The gap is also 10 years. Situations are different. And situations can change, right? In the sense that there's some people who at some point in your life were not good for you, and then later on you found out that things worked. So I'll say the person, the type of people, 1, 2, the situation, the context in which they find themselves. 3, I will now say the alignment. You might be good, I might be good. You might be both in a similar situation. You are in Nigeria planning to Japa. I'm in Nigeria planning to Japa. The next thing I'll say is alignment, right? In the sense that, do I want you? Do you want me? You can want me for all you care, and I might not want you. And there's that already. You are good. You have similar good context, but there's no alignment in what we both want. There's something I always say, that God's approach to marriage, the Christian approach to marriage, is different from what some other people believe. There are people who believe in open marriages. There are people who believe in androgyny. Is that the right word?
Polyandry.
One woman, multiple husbands. Polyandry. What was androgyny? Anyway, there are people who believe in polyandry. There are people who believe in the fact that you should be with the person for a certain period of time. Do you understand? And there are all these different approaches let me be more specific. There are different approaches to marriage. So people believe in the Christian approach to marriage. Husbands love their wife and lay their lives for their wife, and the wives submit to their husbands. And they believe in making that an oath under God and man. That's how I'll just quickly sum up Christian marriage. And there are people who believe in other, be it religions, belief system, philosophical approaches, and whatever. How did I get here? In alignment, that's also very important, right? In the sense that you need to be aligned, especially both for relationship and marriage, because I can also say that applies to marriage. There are people who believe in a Christian approach to having relationships. There are people who believe in some other worldview approach to having a relationship. You also need to be aligned in that. So that I'm not thinking that marriage, we are entering a relationship because we want to end up in marriage, and you are not thinking I enter a relationship because I don't know where it goes, but I enjoy myself. So there has to be that.
That's not the same expectations.
Yes, you have to be aligned, and you can have a discussion to align. You can have a discussion to do that, but you cannot assume my position is your position and things like that. So I think that would be my formula. Funny enough, I didn't mention love. And I'm not saying that love is not important, but I believe love is a decision. I do not believe that you fall in love. Like, you just meet somebody, oh, you're an angel, fell from the sky. Like, I don't believe in Hollywood. A lot of Hollywood's definition of you see somebody. The reason why it doesn't make sense is when you really x-ray it, like, think about it. Take it for I'm talking of what they ask for also to see. Somebody walks into somebody in a bar, and the next thing you're like, I fell in love with this person, I can't. What if the person is a serial killer? So I don't believe in love at first sight, or I believe that you can. Okay, so that's what I mean by I don't believe in falling in love. You can be deliberate about how you fall in love with someone. I believe love is a decision that you walk towards. I don't believe that I met someone and how did they put it? Such a beauty. Good gracious God. So yeah, what's your formula? I've talked too much.
So my own formula is pretty more straightforward, and it's 3 things.
You say it's straightforward. It's 3 things.
Yeah.
How many is my own?
Your own is like 5. And plenty explanation.
5 minus 3.
My own is 3. It's very easy.
Yeah,
to
now
remember.
let's have it.
The first thing is you have to make sure that both of you have great values, excellent values, scriptural, biblical values.
What do you mean by values?
The value system, your outlook on life, your core moral compass. Your core moral compass. And 3 things I will use to describe the core moral compass is love, faith, and hope.
Okay.
Love, like 1 Corinthians 13 kind of love. Like, love is not self-conceited, is not envious, lays down his life, sacrifices, thinks the best, hopes the best kind of love. Real love, right? 1 Corinthians 13 verse love. Faith, when you actually believe in the person and believe in God. And hope is when both of you have aspirations for the future, for things that you're looking forward to. So if both of you are aligned with those values, hope, faith, and love, the Bible says that those 3 things abide. So they have to be in a hierarchy. Those 3 values are the core thing, the number 1 thing that you're picking in a partner. You have those 3 things at the top, right? Then the next thing in the hierarchy of values will now be personality and interest and similar interests, right? So this is where people's personality types and their interests, what they like, comes into being. When you want to make a decision first of all, ensuring that person, that you have those right good values of love, faith, and hope, and that person also has those values of love, faith, and hope. Then you now look at the person's personality type and interest type if they align with what you want. So what are the things about the person's personality? Because everybody has some preferences in their personality types, right? So people like people that are more conscious.
So wait, so personality types like...
I like an introvert, I like an extrovert, I like someone that likes going to the mall, I like someone that is quiet.
You think personality types have a way of, or also...
Yes.
They also affect...
Yes. So yeah, actually, because certain personality types and certain type of interests gel in 2 people. People who are naturally extroverted, for example, will find it easier to jive together.
I don't think...
I'm not talking about possible, I'm talking about easier. What I mean is, it's easy when you have a partner, like you like going out, and the person also is always also looking forward to going out. Both of you love going out together.
Okay.
And it's different from when you want to go out, but your partner like I just want to stay in the house. It's not as if it's impossible. Or if it's just a little bit harder. So that's what I mean. So that's what I'm saying, that before you start looking at that, because this is the problem. And this is why I said I believe my formula is foolproof. A lot of people have misplaced hierarchy of values. A lot of people look at personality types
as the first
as
thing
the most important thing.
Yeah,
They say,
so okay, that's
someone-
where I was going to.
I want
because-
someone who is like this. I want someone who's like that. I love someone who has certain kind of interest. Someone that likes cars. Someone that likes movies.
Why is your voice sounding like that?
Someone that likes
Say, I love
philosophy.
someone that likes movies. Why is your voice sounding
Let
like
me
that?
hear one. I like someone that loves traveling. I love someone that likes cars. I like someone that likes philosophy. I like someone that likes movies. All those things are central, as secondary to the core values, right? Let me just say the three things and I'll align them and put them in context. Then the third thing that your hierarchy of values should not be the person's material context, right? So by material context, I mean
This is sounding way more complicated.
no, it is not. Follow. I'm going to
It's
tell you.
simple to you. It's
No.
complicated to me.
No,
But
it's not,
go
it's
ahead,
not, it's
please.
not. The third thing is the person's material context. Things that pertain to the person's monetary status, the person's social standing, and the person's sexual attraction. Things that have to do with lots of different stories and pride of life, right? How the person looks, how the person makes you feel sexually, the person's social status in the society, and the amount of money or material thing that the person has. That should be the third thing in your consideration.
So in what way, though? In sense that, is it what the person thinks about that, or
No,
the person's situation?
The person's situation, not what the person thinks. What the person thinks is already taught.
Is already
which is
taken care of at the
love, faith,
top.
and hope.
So this third thing you're
A lot of
talking
people
about.
make situations based on the person's situation, not what the person thinks.
No,
For
but
example,
you're putting it in your formula. So I'm trying to say, what are you trying to say with that those are in your formula? Is it that poor
I'm saying
people
it's the
should
third most important
marry
thing.
poor people, rich
no,
people
no.
So-
I'm saying it is the third most important thing to determine your decision. It is the third, the least important thing that will determine your decision.
But it should still affect your decision.
It can still affect your decision.
You put it in your
provided-
formula now.
Yes, follow. That's what I'm saying. You know, it's a hierarchy of values I'm describing. From the most important to the next important to the least important. Right? Those are the three things, right?
Okay.
So the person's material situation is the third thing and is the least important. If you want a good marriage where you're going to help each other to fulfill each other's goals, where you'll be happy, where you have reasonable amount of sex and all that. And this is the reason why. The hierarchy in which they go is also the degree to which they are.
I get what you mean now.
Yes. The hierarchy in which they go is also the degree to which they are amenable and they can change. The hardest things to change are a person's value systems. So, and those are the core of a person. Those are a person's core programming. Once you get a person's, what they call a value system right? The differences in interest and personality can be a little bit of an issue. The person's material situation can be a little bit of an issue, but they are manageable.
Yeah.
If you get the first two, you get the core values right, and you get the person's personality and interest right, you get someone that you like.
So let me just pause and explain the epiphany that I got, because
Okay.
I was seeing it a different way, and I want to be sure that people don't also see it a different way.
Okay.
I was seeing it as you listing the formula of things you should do, but if I understand what you're saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, is you are trying to talk about them in relative to each other.
Yes.
To say these are three things that most times factor in. But what you're saying is, for your own formula, you must always put them in this hierarchy.
Yes, you
so
must
that's
put
what
them
your
in
formula. Your
hierarchy.
formula is more about the hierarchy
hierarchy,
at
yes.
which you put these three things that generally most times affect all
Yes.
relationships.
All decisions
Right,
are
okay.
all decisions are always based on these three things.
Okay.
Right? And so the reason why it must follow that hierarchy is because the lower you go down that hierarchy, the easier those differences are to manage. Do you understand? That's what I keep saying. So that is the reason why and this is the problem why it seems like, it seems like as if it's difficult to get a good marriage. People think it's luck. It's actually not luck. I really believe in this formula because I see it works. A lot of people think that a good marriage is luck. It's not luck. It actually works. The problem is actually following this hierarchy. It's extremely difficult for people, and I don't know why.
So that's the second thing I was going to say when you were listing that hierarchy. And I'm like, let's now look at real life situations,
How
case
is it to follow
study.
it?
No, I'm saying look at case studies, look at past experiences, stories that maybe both of us know and things like that. And just really x-ray it, how people end up having to meet one another. This ensuring that people follow this hierarchy might be fantastic if we're living in a world where from the get-go, you are a separate family, I'm a separate family, you are rearing a daughter, I'm rearing a son, and I'm already inculcating them with this already. But in real life situations, how did we meet?
So this is the issue.
So that's what I'm trying to say, that because of the way people relationships come together, if you look at it right in retrospect, how most people meet and things like that, I don't know this. That's why I feel, because you asked the question that why you don't know why it doesn't happen. I'm like, it's like trying to juggle while riding the bicycle.
No. I think it's actually pretty easy. It's actually pretty easy. People just pay attention and listen. You meet a person. In fact, before you even decide to marry a person, because after marrying a person, if you've gotten it wrong, you already set yourself up for failure.
Exactly. So let's talk relationship phase.
Before relationship, before the relationship phase, right? If you follow this order of hierarchy, you are guaranteed to make a good decision. The only issue you can have is it might take a little bit more time, but you will make a good decision. You will have a good marriage.
Can I add another layer?
If you pick someone, if you yourself are a man of love, and you pick a woman that is of love, right? You're going to have a good time. And because you guys are in love, and you guys have faith in each other, and you guys have similar hopes, what will happen is that even if you have differences in your interests and personalities, you can always make it work, right? For example, people like PD and all that, I say, PD doesn't like going out, Pimo likes going out. Because you love each other, you'll find yourself stretching yourself where your personality is different for the sake of the person, and the person also stretch themselves to make compromises such that despite personality differences, you guys can still have a good time. Despite differences in interest, you can still make it. And then when you not even go down lower in the wrong, the person's material situation, once you have love, faith, and hope, it doesn't matter how broke the person is, as a guy or as a woman, it's immaterial because it will change. Whether the person is in the socially, the status is high, like a guy that everybody knows and all that, it's immaterial.
Change,
Then the person's sexual look and everything.
You can learn it,
like I was trying to say, which also led to this thing and all that, the vast majority of people are actually good looking enough. The problem is that people have been conditioned with abnormal and absurdly high sexual expectations, right? The average person is fine and is okay. So the person doesn't have to look like Kim Kardashian or Cardi B or any of those people. The person just needs to look like a normal person, right? And then you can make it work. All those ideas of sexual compatibility, what the things that people always say, it's a lie.
Let's stay here for now.
You learn together on, except the only compatibility that you need to have with a person is that the person actually has a what do you call it? A sexual drive. That is the only compatibility. If the person also has a normal sexual drive, the person wants to have sex, you can always learn and teach each other all the styles that you want to do and whatever thing that makes your fancy and all that. So
let me put one moving part situation to this, right? And looking at the human nature and how people are. Okay, looking at the human nature and how people are. I think another thing that always disrupts this is, as much as I say that I don't believe in love at first sight, right? I don't know, there's something about human beings, right? When you can be a guy and you see a girl walk into a room and you're like, wow. So I guess that's what most people might call love at first sight. But what I'm trying to say is that there are situations that people find themselves that makes them not necessarily have that structured approach to how they want to. They're not thinking that way at that particular point in time. It can even be a girl and you just see one guy and like, at that point in time, you are not checking love, faith, and hope first. You have just already been smitten. Like, you've just seen the person. And then, so I also think that that's what happens most times. Maybe for some reason, some people find themselves in talking stage and they start tripping for each other. They start liking each other, right? That emotion is already invested in it. They don't have time to see road again. Their eye is not clear. So I think that's another thing that makes this difficult because, again, I'm coming back to how in normal real world scenarios, people meet each other. Right? You might have just, another way that people meet each other is, you might have known someone from afar and there are things the person is doing that you now like it. I just like the way the person talks and you are just following the person from afar. There's a part of your emotions already vested, right? And the first thing in your mind is you're not checking first and foremost is love, faith, and hope, right? Secure. That's why you see that there are people who have now fallen in love with each other and are from different religions and things like that. So I think that's a moving part that also affects this.
But it's a moving part, but it's still deviated from the plan. It doesn't matter how much you feel and everything. That feeling, your eye will still clear. If love, faith, and hope is there, it's just a matter of time. You're still going to enter serious problems. That love will still, that infatuation in your eye will still clear. If you meet a girl that has a nice shape at a coffee shop or at the eatery and you see the way she's walking and everything, you are making decisions based on the least most part, your misery is going to be great. It's going to be epic. That's why in our own case, for example, now, right? I made that decision without, codifying it yet. I had not yet codified it, but we were lucky, or should I say favored or helped by God, the fact that we had mentors who already taught us this. I had the spirit of that formula, right? But I had not yet codified it like I'm saying it now. But I had the spirit of that formula. I remember
when you were not necessarily looking at how fine a person.
Exactly.
I wasn't looking at how rich a person was.
I wasn't even looking at your looks. At the time, I honestly didn't feel the looks were all that. But what you said that night was, that night we met, the way you spoke and everything, I was like, this is it. Love, faith, and hope. This was it. And I didn't even care about the other physical fact. But the physical attraction came much later. Do you remember?
Yeah.
It came much later, and it was the best decision. And
you did not feel that I was fine because you were looking for one yellow Yoruba Latina speaking
fair girl with big shape. I know that's my past history, and thank God delivered me through.
Thank
now,
God
I didn't even like
you.
them again. It's now girls like
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay.
So you get what I'm saying. So
yeah.
I had not codified it yet, but now with retrospect becoming another and another, it has been easy for me to codify and systematize. And systematizing is fine. See, if you follow that hierarchy, you'll be fine. You will have a good marriage. You will have peace of mind. Your partner will help you to become. The person will help you to become a better person. You guys are going to have you're going to have good memories. You're going to have a good time. You're going to have decency because that's part of love, right?
Yeah.
Even if you have differences and all that, you stretch yourself for each other.
And you work towards
each other.
Making it work. Okay.
So what do you think? Do you think we followed this formula deliberately? Did you have this formula in mind? Or?
Definitely, I didn't have. Okay, so the set of things that I had. Then, if I remember very well, I remember not wanting to get into a relationship for the first 3 years of school because I wanted to be able to focus on school. And I don't know why I told myself all those things. I think maybe I might have picked it up from Teens Church and all of that. Then I remember in fellowship and even in church, the only thing we used to emphasize was don't get into a relationship in your 100 level. And I think it's still something that I think is good advice. I will tell my daughters the same thing. They're just entering into school. Just have fun for the first year. But anyways, so I remember those were things that I considered I didn't want to get into a relationship with the first 3 years. Another thing that I had always just known was that love, you don't see someone that, you don't just see someone and you make it work.
Make love, I didn't mean make love.
Yeah.
What's the right word?
Love is a decision.
Love is you decide love.
You decide to love, right? That was the second thing I'm saying things that I knew back then. Third thing was, did I have a list? Yes. But I made sure my list spoke more to items 1 and 2 of what you described, right? And item 1 of what I described to say a good person as against the last thing.
Most people, their list when they
is the other way around.
Usually from the bottom of the wrong.
Yeah.
That's why people have so much.
I used to tell, and I think I told myself that thing so much that I didn't necessarily have a type. I just had a preference. In the sense that if he was tall, dark, and handsome, and God does so much as a good girl and gave me, right?
Thank you.
But I didn't have a list of, I just had preferences. But the things that were in my list then was I wanted someone who loved God. I didn't want a pastor.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, so those were other lists. But I wanted someone who definitely loved God. I wanted someone who was a good man. And I think the type of dad I had already modeled what a good man looked like. I'm sure it's in some journal somewhere. Maybe I should have dug it up, right? I didn't know I'll go this direction. But those were things that were in my list. Like, I was deliberate not to put things like tall, dark, and handsome in my list, even then at that stage.
I remember that. I can corroborate that.
Yeah, so I think those are the few things, right, I looked at. So is it because my personality type is more analytical and things like that I was thinking that way? I don't know. Well, let me know if I don't know. I'll say yes a little. Why are you smiling?
Nothing. We'll talk about it next.
Okay. So did I follow? I think yes, I did follow part of the formula that I put. Maybe not as the way I put it. Not as succinctly as the way I put it, right? But I did, yes, follow the formula.
Thank you.
Did you follow a formula?
I did.
You did not?
I didn't codify, but I did.
Did you?
You remember now? Yeah, but I still have been consistent for 11.
Okay, but then your eye has cleared. You've chopped breakfast. Okay. Yeah, your eye had cleared.
All those fake girls, they don't deal with me.
Very good. So that's, you learnt obedience by the things you suffered.
Right.
So you had already, yes, I remember.
think we should end at this point. And
Okay.
then, next, we're going to talk about the reasons why people cannot formulate. People find it difficult to follow this formula and other moving parts, and how people can make it more practical.
Yeah.
To make the next episode more practical. All right,
think
guys.
so.
So we'll see you in the next episode. Bye.